As he looked at the men smirking, Subaru tried to hold the status quo with a fake smile and considered his options. He was in quite a pinch, but since the beginning of time, in stories where humans are summoned to other worlds, those humans tended to be able to wield some kind of superpower. If Subaru had been summoned to this world under the same conditions as the stories he was familiar with, it was very likely that he had been given some sort of power. With that thought, Subaru felt that his body was a little lighter than usual. I'm starting to get the feeling that this world's gravity is like only a tenth of my world's. I can do this. I can do this. I'm going to mow you all down and make this the first chapter of my glorious future. You're only here so I can pull experience points off of you, you scum. What the hell is he going on about? Said one of the men. I don't know, but I'm pretty sure he's making fun of us. Let's kill him, replied another. Took the words right out of my mouth. You're going to regret this, returned Subaru, before flying forward with a straight jab from his right hand, aiming for the big man in front. Subaru's fist collided with the man's nose, but he also cut his fist on one of the man's front teeth and started bleeding. I hit someone for the first time in my life. Wow! It hurts way more than I expected. Subaru was confident in his fighting form, but he had never been in a real fight before. The man whose punch fell to the ground. Without taking a moment to pause, Subaru leapt at another of the men, caught off guard as his next target. With a clean arc, he landed a kick on the side of the next man's head, slamming him into the wall of the alley. This was going even better than he expected, and he started to be sure of the notion that he was invincible in this new world. I guess in this world, my stats are pretty good. What a rush! Now to finish this! Turning back around, Subaru bent forward to beat down the last man standing, when his eyes centered on what that man was holding in his hand, a glinting knife. Immediately, Subaru dropped to his knees, bent over forward, and with a spectacular single motion prostrated himself, pressing his forehead against the ground. I'm sorry. That was absolutely terrible of me. I ask that you forgive me and please find it in your generous hearts to spare my life. Prostration. It was the most extreme form showing absolute submission to another, and the lowest form of Japanese humility. Just where did all that fired up feeling go? Subaru felt as if he could hear the blood drain from his body. Desperately clinging to any hope of mercy, he tried to make himself seem small and continued to apologize. With the knife involved, fighting was out of the question. No matter how you might train yourself, if you were stabbed, it was all over. All things in life are transient. Before he knew it, the two that Subaru thought he had defeated were back on their feet. One was holding his bleeding nose, and the other was shaking his head back and forth. But other than that, both looked as though they were in surprisingly good condition. What? You mean to tell me that my one-hit knockout punch only did that much damage? What about my superpowers? I don't know what you're going on about, but shut your trap! You've really done it now! It looked as though Subaru had been completely wrong about being summoned into another world coming with the promise of some kind of powers. He wasn't really any stronger than he had been before. One of the men stepped on the back of Subaru's head, scraping his forehead against the ground and causing him to bleed. Another then kicked him in the face, and Subaru curled in the ball as tightly as he could as he was subjected to further acts of violence. After all, the one who hit first was Subaru. The men didn't hold back at all. Crap, this really hurts. Like I could die. No, seriously. Unlike in his own world, there was no guarantee that these thugs wouldn't take his life. At this rate, it would be better to try one last-ditch effort to retaliate before he was beaten to death. Stop moving, you whelp! Ow! No, don't! Ow! 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 The man with the knife stomped on Subaru's hand as he tried to get up, then readjusted his grip on the knife so that the tip was held back toward his arm, ready to strike. After we make sure you can't move, we're going to take everything you've got. That's what you get for acting tough, you punk. If you're looking for money or valuables, I'm sorry, but you're out of luck. After all, I don't have a cent on me. Then those strange-looking clothes and shoes will do just fine. You can just stay down and be food for the alley rats. Oh, so there are rats in this world too, Subaru thought. I hope they aren't big, like monster rats or anything. Subaru looked at the knife about to come down as if it didn't concern him at all, distancing himself from reality as best he could. Subaru didn't see his life flash before his eyes, and he didn't feel like time was slowing down either. The end would probably come like the cutting of a thread, he thought. But just then, "Hey, out of the way! Out of the way! I'm talking to you! Move!" yelled someone in a flustered-sounding voice as they dashed into the alley. Like the men who suddenly looked up, Subaru managed to glance up in the direction of the voice, though he couldn't move his body. What he saw was a small girl with longish blonde hair dashing by. From her red eyes, you could sense a strong will, and her one canine tooth sticking out made her look like quite a prankster. She seemed more cheeky than anything else, but Suru felt that if she smiled, she would look pretty cute. As if it had been staged for a comeback, the fading light of hope Suru had been holding lit anew. He was waiting for this kind of development. The girl, in her well-worn clothes and unclean appearance, had stumbled upon this attempted murder and robbery in the act. What was sure to happen next was that, with an overflowing sense of justice, this girl would save Subaru's life, right from the clutches of death. Whoa, you look like you're in quite a pinch there, but sorry, I've got my hands full right now. Good luck, live life to the fullest. Wait, what? Are you serious? Unfortunately, that hope was shattered in an instant. The girl raised her hand in an apologetic sort of gesture and didn't slow down as she continued racing down the alley. She went right past the men and kept going toward what should have been a dead end, kicked off against a wooden plank set up against the end wall, grabbed the top of the wall, and lightly flung herself onto the roof of one of the surrounding buildings, where she disappeared. After the girl was gone, a silence fell upon the alley. It was as if a hurricane had just passed. Both Subaru and the men were dumbstruck. However, this didn't mean that Subaru's situation had improved at all. Doesn't what just happened make your anger just sort of melt away and make you want to change your minds after all of this? More like it killed the mood and now I'm even angrier. Don't think you'll get to die a pleasant death. The men kept their feet planted on Subaru so he couldn't move. As Subaru looked at the glint of the knife in the man's hand, the death that loomed before him seemed ever more real. No, I mean, you've got to be kidding. I can't die this easily, can I? A twitching smile formed on Subaru's face as he looked around desperately for someone to deny the death that was coming his way. However, no such convenient development came. The tip of the knife drew ever closer. A feeling of resignation came over Subaru, and he felt tears welling up in his eyes. It wasn't fear that overwhelmed him. It was more the feeling of emptiness that this will all end without him accomplishing anything. In the midst of his overwhelming despair, feeling as if he had been abandoned by everyone and everything, "Hold it right there, you evildoers!" That voice overcame the noise of the crowd, the vulgar insults of the men, Subaru's own heavy breathing, as well as everything else. It shook the very foundations of the world.